Hey guys, are you looking for a bumper for your OBS that's a little different than what everybody else has? Maybe you don't want a big drop bumper. I mean, you've lowered the truck, wheels, LS swapped it, whatever you've done. You don't want to put this big bulky bumper on the back, but you do want something that looks nice. Maybe a roll pan's just not for you. I found what I was looking for online purely by accident. There's a company called Tricked Toys, and they make a bracket kit and a license plate frame for a modification on a bumper. And that bumper is a 2005 to 2015 Ford E-Series van bumper. Sounds weird, but it's a sleek, simple bumper. They've got a kit with the appropriate brackets to mount to it that'll bolt right to your truck, no cutting. And they've got a license plate kit in case you decide you want to put a license plate in the middle of it that looks like this. Let me show you what the kit looks like. I've already made some modifications to this bumper. It's pretty simple, but I can show you how I did it. Okay, here's the kit. Here are the brackets. These bolt directly to the bumper, the back of the bumper, and this attaches to the truck. He provides the hardware as well, all the bolts and washers that you need. If you opt for the rear license plate to be mounted on the bumper rather than maybe you've got it mounted somewhere else on the truck, but if you decide you want it on the bumper, this bracket he made fits in there very nicely. Okay, this template, and this is what it'll look like when you get it. This little dash in the upper right-hand corner, that's there for a reason. Let's see, go to the passenger side. When you want to line this up, it kind of follows the contour of the bumper a bit, but you want to line that dash up with the very edge of the bumper like that, and then follow this contour around. And the angle of the camera kind of makes it look odd, but it fits in there just right. But you want to line that up and then draw a line with a Sharpie. Then flip this over, and I carried that line over to the other side, and go over to the driver's side and do the exact same thing. You want to line this up, put the little dash mark even with the back of the bumper, and carry the contour over to the left and draw it with a Sharpie. And here's a picture of what that looks like. When Trick Toys shows how to install this on their own truck, they use a flap disc to open this curve up. They encourage using a flap disc so you don't take off too much metal at one time. I had to use a grinder because my flap disc was trash, but I used a grinder to take it down quite a bit and the flap disc to finish it off a bit. Before you take it down too far, you want to test fit it on your truck to make sure that you're following the correct lines. Highly encourage you to use masking tape or some kind of tape on the body on both sides to protect the paint so that you don't accidentally scratch the paint trying to fit it. Once you've, in my case, I found that the line I had drawn was just right, and I used a flap disc to bring it out exactly the shape that the template showed. And on the inside of the bumper, this little end right here, this actually came over to about right there. I trimmed off probably 3/4 of an inch to an inch. I need to do that. Very simple modification, easy to do. For the modification for the license plate, you turn the bumper upside down, find your very center, which I found it right here. And I just use reference point, both of these brackets, find the exact center, and I made a mark. And then laid the bracket down in there. And the tabs actually, move this. Move the tabs underneath, and you'll have to drill holes. Have to drill these top two holes, and then these two holes, and use these little button screws to fasten with. But once you find the exact center, then you can mark where to drill the holes in the bumper. Now, cutting out the hole, once this bracket is exactly where you want it, and you've marked it, use your Sharpie and mark a line all around the perimeter. Now, here's the important step. When you go to cut this out, I cut it kind of close. I measured about 3/8 of an inch. inside, because once you cut this area out, use your flap disc to kind of take the sharpness off of it and even it up. You want it as straight as you can. You want this to be able to, when you come back and mount it, you want the edge of this right here to make contact with the inside of the bumper, so it overlaps just a fraction. Mine, I was pretty close. When I cut it, it will be exact. I mean, it's right on there. There's no overhang, but it's just enough. And then follow this body line, or follow this grooved line in the bumper to, or your upper boundary of the license plate. Now, they also encourage you, which is a good idea, to use a punch and before you drill any holes so that your bit doesn't wander, but to drill 2 holes, one in each corner here, and then cut that line up to it and over so that you have more of a rounded, nice curve right there instead of a sharp edge of a corner. The factory would never do that, but you have a nice little arc there. It looks much nicer. So now at this point, the brackets need to be painted or powder coated, because when you purchase them, they come in this raw steel and they need some kind of protective coating. So I am going to paint these with a Rust-Oleum type paint, and I'm going to make them black. And I think the inside of this I may do silver. I haven't decided yet. The brackets are definitely black. The back of this is black, but the front I may do silver. I haven't decided yet. It might be black as well. I don't know. Anyway, let's get these cleaned up and painted. I'll assemble the brackets all to the bumper, and we'll fit it up, and you can see what it looks like. It's held in with these smaller nuts, and they all have nylon locks in them so that they'll stay tight. It's even got a light for it. Everything is included. In fact, here's the template that they provide with it as well, because some modifications are required for the bumper. I wanted to quickly point out as well, the license plate bracket comes with a light, but the holes have not been drilled for the screws. And for the license plate, the holes have not been drilled for a license plate. So I just put the light in place, used a Sharpie to mount, to go through those holes, and I came up with my 2 little dots there. And then I used a license plate and positioned it kind of where I wanted it within the boundary here. It fits really nice, and made my marks as well. So I'm going to drill these little holes out first, then I'm going to paint everything. Okay, I finished painting the parts. I decided to make the whole thing black so it's less obvious. Actually, you won't even hardly see this. The license plate takes up pretty much the whole space except for a very small border around the edges, and then this inside you won't even really see. So black works out just fine. I wanted to mention, I did mention before about drilling the holes for the lights and the license plate. This hole in the center is there so that if you have a true hidden hitch mounted on your truck, it still is accessible. And you can get a spring-loaded little bracket mounts here for your license plate to allow it to flip up or down, or whichever it would need to be, I guess, flip down so that your hitch will work. But on this kind of truck, I really have no need for a hitch. All right, let's put the brackets all on the bumper, see what it looks like together. And I did mark on each side where the large frame brackets go, so that when they sit in place, I already have lines here where the edge of the bracket was, and on the side, and same over here, some marks. That way the brackets should be in the right spot. Now, in assembling this for the final time, I'm putting my bolts in from the back. That way it leaves a cleaner appearance. Instead of having the bolts with the nuts coming through this way, they'll be tightened down. And each of the bolts has a nylon insert on the nut. Another suggestion I would have would be all the cut edges that you have to either apply maybe some silver paint, or in my case I used clear, so that those areas won't rust. It'll provide them with some protection. Not that this truck's going to be driven a lot in the rain. I don't know what. I may drive it a whole lot more than I think I will, but I just want to make sure that these edges are protected and it doesn't start rusting out. And then before I tighten these up, again, I'll double check to make sure that the license plate frame is centered exactly so that my edges that are cut will line up correctly. That's how it should look. I'll wipe it down. This blanket I'm using has got a lot of lint in it, so I got to wipe that off. We'll put the 2 screws in here for the light. Okay, I'm going to mount it up like we're mocking it as once before. Put it in place, and then we'll put the final bolts in to hold it down. Trying to get the edge. It's pretty well centered. The brackets are in place, so that holds it in the correct spot. It's just a matter of adjusting the sides. As you put it in, I find I have to kind of go up and in because the bottom of the bed has a lip on it, and you have to clear that with the bracket to get it into the inside of the frame rail. Not hard to do, just that's another reason why you use this tape, to make sure that you don't scratch your body up. Now I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not really measuring anything exact. I'm just looking at the curvature here, looking straight down, trying to get the curve to match right on the edge of the body as you look straight down. And here it is installed. Try to line it up as evenly as possible. You want to open your tailgate to make sure it doesn't make contact. There's about a 1/4 inch of space between the tailgate and the bumper. I'm going to let it down on both sides. Well worth the time and effort. It's really not hard to do. It doesn't take too long. It's something you can easily do in a day. Parts are not that expensive. I believe the bumper brackets themselves were about $70, and the license plate bracket was $60. Well-made, heavy-duty construction, comes with all the hardware you need to mount it, including the light. And I will put a link in the description below where I got these, and you can check it out. Maybe this will be the right thing for you too. I certainly like the way it looks. It's clean and slick and very simple. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you got something out of it. We'll see you in the next video.